When it comes to chapter 12, I learned a lot from my fellow students. Something very important that we talked about is the ACA style and how, like, it could be a powerful level of reform because it would shift incentives away from patients like cycling and towards sustained recovery outcomes, which is very important because, as we know, like throughout the Florida Shuffle and throughout the earlier chapters, they talk about like patient brookering and how the insurance companies are being billed for basically nothing for testing that they don't even really need. And we all understand the fact that that's very unfortunate and is something that needs to be fixed. For example, like mandatory certifications or licenses, whether they're involuntary systems, they would reduce, exploitation by bad people or brokers that want to push people back towards using instead of like recovery. Something else that was very important that was talked about is Governor Newsom's veto reasoning regarding like the California sober living accountability legislation rises. We all understand that it's kind of a concern, but at the end of the day, it's not fully convincing, which is very important because it's like, what's the need for it? But then again, there is kind of a need. Something else that was talked about is the MARR, which is Michigan's Association of Recovery Residents. And we all understand the fact that it's important and there are lots of benefits, but there are also very like limitations, which makes it hard to trust the process and everything. A balanced approach for Michigan when it comes to these issues could be like expanding mandatory baselines, for example, like safety, fraud precautions, residents' rights, and transparency. That's important because it'll help with like facilities when it comes to treatment, and it'll also help with sober living homes, which is also very important because, like I said, it's something that we've been talking about throughout the whole book and in earlier chapters. Thank you for watching.